I don't know if you guys saw this or watched this, but again, our show is not a political show.
Not really, no.
We all have our individual opinions on, but we don't, I don't
Right.
tell people how to think. I don't care, whatever. It's your
Right.
life. But
Same. Yeah.
there is a movie that came out a few days ago, I guess. I'm not going to pay to watch it because it's on the Daily Wire, which I'm not going to pay for. Ben Shapiro is a failed screenwriter who finally got to make a movie. And here is the trailer for this movie. Basically, this is
go ahead.
Yeah, start with the
Here.
In a world where women's sports is being transformed,
get it? Transformed.
the Daily Wire calls foul with the most triggering comedy of the year.
We're in lives. We're badass.
Guys, this is serious. Sports can be your pathway to a better life.
Well, like yours?
Please don't steal my catalytic converter again. Winning matters. It's the key ingredient in becoming a winner.
Maybe you should try it sometime. Are you gonna move?
I am not.
Let's cut to the chase. I know you're not a woman.
Hey, you don't know how he identifies.
If you can beat them,
What do you know about the U.S. Opens for the Global Games?
You want us to compete as women. $5,000 prizes.
My lover says you were a great coach back in the day.
join them.
This is the way the world is now. My 8-year-old daughter told me all about it. So, a guy can become a girl with no physical changes at all.
Oh, that's called gender fluid.
So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice!
You mean when you're sleeping?
Yes.
Coach,
Alex, we could play basketball.
we'd have to get the whole team back together.
It's time
We're in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
to play
Lady Ballers.
Mount up.
like a girl.
I'm with her.
I'm in my truth. This is my truth.
From heroes
Day one of being a girl athlete. I love being a girl.
to sheroes.
We could dominate every woman's sport. Running, swimming, soccer. I said sport, Felix!
America.
Ladies basketball, boys. Nobody watches.
Excuse me. Are these seats open?
Pause it. Never mind.
What? Yeah, you gotta pause it. We gotta pause it.
We need to talk about this for a second. Okay, we need to talk about this, man. Listen, the right is so obsessed with trying to make like Ted Cruz into like a witty badass when he's not at all.
He's the worst.
He's the biggest loser ever.
Republicans hate him.
Yeah, he's the one that because like there are like all politicians are like notorious booze hounds, but like apparently like Ted Cruz is like the wet blanket of the group from like what I hear. So like Ted just sucks. You ever see him like when he tries to like pretend that he's watching like fucking like a Longhorns game and he's like in his beer and he's like, yeah, just me being an average American, and it's like, okay, you talk like you're
did you ever see him show up at Yankee Stadium when they were playing against the Astros?
Yes.
That's one of my favorite videos of all time.
Yeah.
He got the shit booed out of him.
Yeah.
And then he had the audacity to be like, I got nothing but love at Yankee Stadium, like in an interview, like an hour later. It's like, bro, we have the game tape.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Getting dunks. And tucking trunks.
No, she didn't. That's the biggest I've ever seen on a lady.
I don't care.
Lady Ballers.
Gotta get that.
One can even be trans age now, which provides Sheelix with a wonderful opportunity to relive all the experiences that she missed out on in school.
Streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus December 1st.
But it's just so shameless of them, like really just being like, the sad thing about this, and I may get some flack for this, is like if it was a movie about dumb guys who thought they could get away with being women if they just lied about being women, and the joke was completely on them, instead of like the fucking agenda they're going to be pushing. I mean, it doesn't look like a great comedy, but there may be some hope for it. I mean, they seem like they copied all like the beats of like a raunchy like early.
No, you know what movie they copied? They copied Joanna Man.
I was about to say that too. Me and my brother used to watch Joanna Man all the time, and that's what
there was something familiar about it. I'm watching. I'm like, this has the feel of a '90s comedy, but it's so obnoxious and just hateful that
it's also just like it's not like a premise that's breaking ground at all. South Park, I think, did an episode about like this, like basic. Here's the other thing I have to say. Just I think in terms of, there's always the argument that when you're talking about like transgender athletes, that people will transition, men will transition it into women just so they can win championships.
No other reason.
And I know that's not true, because if that was true, Michael Jordan would have transitioned to a woman to have beat everyone in the WNBA. That's how much Michael Jordan loves winning. Is he would have done that on purpose. All you would have had to do, all the men. Tell Michael Jordan that he could never be a woman and that he could never win in the WNBA. And if he does that, which he is psychotic enough to do that, then you may have an argument. But other than that, until Michael Jordan transitions into the WNBA just so he can win because he's that addicted to winning, then I don't buy that argument at all.
Who played Joanna Man? Was it Affian Crockett, the comedian?
I have no idea. It was some
He's a
famous black person from the early 2000s. But you know what I think would be funny though? If someone actually, like, if a bunch of like idiot like rednecks actually tried to do this in real life and then they ended up losing to the women's team anyway, that would be funny, because I don't think there'd be anything more humiliating than that.
And that's a good place to like, if the movie was making fun of these morons for like trying to be women but then like failing at doing so,
right?
Then
that'd be funny. Like, that's the funniest thing you can do.
Yeah, that is the funniest thing you can do in that situation. But like, they're just so obviously pushing their agenda that it's like, it's beyond.
It's so
especially watching Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz is genuinely triggering to me, not because like he can get one over on me, but because I don't understand how people try to push him as this like, you know, like this intellectual titan. Like, dude, you give me a mic and give him a mic, I will lay him the fuck out if you actually have him debate someone like me. He's not that smart. I mean, okay, he's just a fucking like wannabe badass who fucking, you know, thinks I'm gonna trigger the lords. Like, dude, you're a dork. You're a dork, and that's all you'll ever be. My issue isn't with the fact. Hold on, one more thing. Yeah. My issue isn't with the fact that they made a movie about this. And you can make a movie about anything. You're free to do that. But my problem is that they're hacks. This is a hack fucking premise.
Yeah.
This is a hack and a half premise.
It's such a hack premise. It's just so bad. But like, when you had like the dumb guy being like, so I could be like a woman on the court, but a man in the sheets. It's like, yeah. I'm stressing this point too much, but if you made the joke about these dumb guys and stressed the point that they're idiots, then that would be much funnier than being like, isn't this gender? Like, this is just basically like them trying to be like, well, it's them trying to do not another teen movie through the lens of fucking like DeSantis. Like, it's so bad.
My question is, Mike, you go first. Sorry.
I was going to say that what Brian is saying is spot on, because it could have had the premise of a movie that teaches a lesson. It could have been very pro-trans. If these guys were idiots and they didn't understand what it was like to be trans, and they went through this process and we saw how stupid they are, and at the end they go, oh, we were so ignorant about what being trans is, they learn a lesson, then I could see the movie having some kind of purpose. But this is just, it's a movie, it's a hate movie. And anything... It's hating.
Wait, Mike, you mean to tell me that a movie where the trailer begins with a 6'3" guy body slamming a woman has hate in it? What? Hold on.
No.
Wait a minute now.
It's punching down. It's at bare minimum. It's punching down.
And
It's
that's
just
why it's fucking hack. It's
Yeah.
and look, another thing I looked up too, just to see if there were any reviews on it. Not many people have watched this, probably because no one's going to pay for the Daily Wire just to review this.
No.
But on Rotten Tomatoes, there's a 97% audience score, which means a bunch of like idiot little Ben Shapiro incel fans all went on there and like, this is the best movie ever, even if they didn't watch it, just to fucking try to prove that point and to try to like jam that cultural victory across. And it's like, bro, you guys are not the cool kids. You're never gonna be. You don't have any real artists. You have like, what, who do they have on that? They have what, Tim Allen and fucking Kid Rock and Roseanne. It's like they don't have a deep bench entertainment wise, and movie trailers like this just sort of stress that point.
Yeah,
it's just
they should have that Charles Barkley commercial with Ben Shapiro as Indiana Jones, but he finds out how to make his wife come. Like that, like he finds out the secret to finally doing that.
He'll never find it out. Yeah.
Well, and the treasure is just a vibrator and then like a one-way plane ticket for him to leave. Like, see if that would be yeah.
There's more we could say. I know there was a great segment on the Daily Show with Trevor Noah with a trans athlete, and she was describing it has nothing to do with your gender. It has to do with your weight class and your size. So, if there's little dudes, out there who couldn't stack up physically to like, I don't know, a bigger woman who's a whatever sport, it's size and strength.
But also it's like I also just don't buy the argument that like that most male athletes will just decide to completely become a woman, like go through hormone therapy, like start like wearing dresses around their friends back home.
It doesn't work.
Like,
it doesn't work that way.
To get like brutally made fun of. Like I don't expect they would go through all of that just to win a championship. Like that's absurd. And if there are people like that willing to do that, then they deserve a fucking championship. If you're willing to change your gender so you can come home with a trophy, you should get a participation trophy at the most.
Going through all that surgery. Yeah.
You are the type of sociopath. You are a Michael Jordan sociopath that will do anything to win.
Yeah, no, I want to add on to that point actually, Brian, because you're right. Because the thing is, you think about the right always likes to try to present like transism, if that's even a word, as like this scourge that's like taking over society and they're forcing all your kids to do it. And it's like, nah, dude, it's 0.2% of the population. So of that 0.2% of the population, how many of that 0.2 are athletes, and how many of that 0.2 would go through that to do this? And so they're taking something that doesn't really have a statistical basis in reality and making a really hacky movie out of it.
Well, it's all logic. Yeah. We know in joke writing, if there's a logic flaw in the joke, it's just not going to make sense. And this movie's obviously filled with logic flaws. Now, if you're just uncomfortable with people, that's your own issue. You got to work out. But just from a factual point of view, you can't just put a wig on and say, "Oh, I'm gender fluid." Like it doesn't. People who we know from the comedy scene, at least, who are gender fluid or non-binary, they didn't just.
Well, that's just so they can get booked more, but that's a different conversation.
That's it.
So Phil's gonna be in a Daily Wire sequel.
One thing I will say about this movie, one thing I'll say about this trailer anyway, is that I will say they edited the trailer to make it look like a 90s 2000s comedy movie. Like it had like the cuts and the music and the the weird puns and it had the right pacing. So there's somebody who works there who kind of knows how to edit, but that's pretty much as far as that's where my praise begins and ends for this fucking piece of garbage trailer.
It's so bad.
I have nothing else to add to this. If you guys have any more thoughts,
it's garbage. You can call me a libtard up and down. I don't give a shit. I'll defend the trans people any day. That trailer's garbage.
Yeah,
movie's garbage.
I mean, like, and it doesn't like you also you don't when you're trying too hard to push an agenda. Then like I don't care what it is. It's not
try hard. That's the word I needed, Brian. Sorry to cut you off. This trailer. It's try hardy. Keep going. Sorry.
No, that's basically all I have to say.
What you said in our chat. It's got to be funny to get the point across, and this clearly isn't. It's just mean.
Yeah.
So, and there's no point anyway. So there's nothing to get across.
All right, enough of those losers.